Hey, you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast! Peekaboo. I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available in the fall of 2022. The launch of my new album, Cover Lover. All of your favorite cover songs performed by me. The tour and the concert with Gabby Hanna. Dad AF. Your mama can't dance and your daddy don't rock and roll. Every rose has its thorn, just like it. Come on, sing it with me. Every night has its dawn, just like every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. Ready? Every rose has its thorn. Listening to a little Poison today while I get ready around the house. And I was sitting there and I was like listening to all of my favorite Poison songs. And I was flashing back to my youth, to my high school years. And I was thinking about us listening to Poison. I mean, so back in the day, we listened to a lot of this like glam rock like Poison, but then we also listened to like the Smiths and the Cure and Gene Loves Jezebel and what was it? Who else? Let's see, I can't think. Sonic Youth and on and on and on. And I had so many favorite bands back in the day and I just would listen to them on repeat. And we would drive around. Y'all, if you're as old as me, I'm going to show my true age right now. But if you're as old as me, we would drive around town, and they were called cruise lines, okay? And we would drive around in these cruise lines where you would just follow people around, and wherever they went, it was where you would go, right? And it's so funny because in Indianapolis, we used to go out to like where the cornfields were and stuff like that, you know, because nobody was looking for us out there. Now those are like $1 million estates, but when I was in high school, they were cornfields, right? And then we used to also play this game in high school, and it was called CB tag. This is where I'm really showing my age, because probably 90% of the people that are watching this video are like, what is a CB? So a CB is like what truck drivers used to have, and they would have them in their car, you know, and they would go like, breaker, breaker. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And then they would have like codes and stuff like that, and police officers used them as well. Well, a lot of my friends, their parents had CBs in their car for, and radar detectors. Do you guys remember radar detectors? Like literally everybody that I knew had a radar detector in your car. And a radar detector was when like a police officer was set up, you know, with like the scanning thing to like check your speed. And so if you had a radar detector, it would like start beeping when like a police officer was set up. That way you knew to stop going, you know, over the speed limit. But anyway, I never had a CB and I never had a radar detector and I never had a pager because my dad said pagers were for drug dealers. And I never had a moped either. My friends had mopeds. They had pagers, they had CBs in their cars, because their parents had CBs, because if they took road trips, then they could listen to like what the truck drivers were saying about like, you know, if there were accidents on the road or construction or like weather and things like that. So we would like load up into 2 different cars that had CBs in it, and then we would give hints to where we were, and it was called CB tag. Oh my God, it was so much fun back in the day. Y'all remember those cruise lines? If you're from a small town, you just cruise around the same square. One of our friends, true story, her parents won the lottery and they moved back to their hometown that they were from, and they had like a city square that was literally like block, 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 okay? That was it, with like, you know, the court building in the middle of it. And so we would go and visit her. It was in southern Indiana. And so we would go and visit her, and we would like, it was, the town started with a P, and we would do the P-Town cruise line, and we would literally just follow this line all through town, around the square, back again, through the Dairy Queen, so we could get us, you know, some blizzards and things like that. But anyway, so I was listening to a little Poison today. What does it have to do with my video? Absolutely nothing. Timestamp it, I don't care. 4 minutes and 22 seconds. Okay. So today we're going to talk about James Charles. Now, I have to tell you, the video that I'm doing is kind of 2 parts, all right? First, I want to talk about this TikTok that James Charles put out and how I don't really know what is going on with James Charles right now. I really didn't expect to make 2 videos back-to-back about James Charles. But James Charles is really showing his arrogance, ego, and pride, and he cannot shut his mouth right now. And it's such a bad look, and I don't really think he thinks it's a bad look. I think it's a combination of kind of like, he's really had it with people coming for him on the internet, for all of the mistakes that he's made, okay? For all of the horrific choices he's made, I think he's kind of like, I'm done with it. I don't care. My career's taken a fall, whatever. I'm going to say what I want to say. And then I also think that he has a lot of people around him that don't really tell him that he needs to grow as a human being. This is where I think it would be fantastic for these people to have managers and PR people, but none of them do, okay? And I know that from the horse's mouth, because back in the day, I told James that he needed to get a PR person, and he said, no, I just handle this stuff always on my own. Well, this is why there are drama channels to hold these people accountable, okay? Because they don't have PR people to, like, tell them, this is probably not a good look, this is maybe not the TikTok that you need to be putting out, this is maybe not the video. Okay, so I want to talk about this TikTok that he put out in just a second, because I think it's interesting. And number two, I want to talk about comments that I got on my video the other day, because I did this video where I was talking about I was responding and reacting to this video that James Charles had done with his friends, Amari Stewart, which, thank you all. Y'all were like, you read Amari for filth. And you know what's so funny to me is I was talking to a friend about this that had watched my video, and they were like, you really let Amari have it. I've always thought Amari was a nice guy, and it was interesting because in that video that he does with James Charles and Mario Selman, he said in there, like, the question was, who do you think needs to be gone from YouTube, or who do you think needs to retire from YouTube? And he said T channels. And I'm thinking to myself, and I was talking to my friend about this, you know, it's like, Amari has never been in any drama. I don't think I've ever made a drama video about Amari Stewart, except for the one that I did yesterday because, you know, he wanted to bring it to my doorstep. I don't think I've ever maybe referenced him in videos about Tana Mojo, but I have never talked about Amari Stewart. I never felt that Amari Stewart until yesterday was problematic, or 2 days ago. I never felt whatever, you know? So, like, I really, and quite frankly, I find him rather boring. I think people his age will probably find him enjoyable, whatever, but I find him rather boring. So drama channels aren't going to talk about you if you're not doing anything, and I don't remember the time that anybody was talking about Amari Stewart. I really don't, you know? I think maybe in connection to Tana Mojo's racist comments and people speculating what he thought about that. But other than that, I don't think there's ever been a time or a place where Amari has been the center of drama. So I was interested in why, you know, he felt the need to say that. So I got several comments, though, when I made that video, because I talked on there about their drinking and their binge drinking, and they're getting to the point, and I didn't even address the part at the end of it where James is, like, getting sick, and he's crying, and he's talking about being alone and all that kind of stuff, right? And a lot of people commented on that on my video. But what I did say was that I felt to some degree, like, whenever I say this in videos, people are always like, they don't have any responsibility to their generation, their younger generation of who is watching their videos. They have no responsibility at all. I got a lot of people defending them and saying, you know, this is what everybody does. Everybody does these take a shot videos. Everybody does these binge drinking videos. So just because it's James, you're talking about it, you're biased, blah, 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 whatever, okay? I could give a rat's ass about James Charles other than to talk about him in a video. True story, okay? So listen, I'm not biased. And I have equally talked about Tana Mojo with the same kind of issues, okay? When she was, you know, talking about all kinds of partying and things like that in videos. I talked about it. I've talked about it with numerous YouTubers that I have an issue with it, okay, about their audience. But I want to talk about that for a second. Because when I got done making that video, and this often happens to me, like when I watch a video back before I post it, like I start thinking about something. And there was a strong point in that video that I wanted to make that I didn't. So I'm going to address it at the end of this because I think it is an important point to discuss. And that's, do these influencers have a responsibility to their audience for what they put out there? And I want to talk about that because they even said something in the video that really triggered me, okay? So first of all, I want to talk about this James Charles thing. I know people are timestamping the hell as they're like, 9 minutes and 8 seconds, Peter finally talks about the issue. Well, listen, if you're here for me, then thank you. Okay, if you're here for the drama, it's 9 minutes and 15 seconds now. So James Charles, he put out this TikTok addressing his makeup being at, what do you call it? At, I was going to say Trader Joe's, at TJ Maxx, okay? And he said he was tagged in a lot of people finding his makeup in TJ Maxx and whatever. You know, his makeup's in Marshall's, his makeup is in TJ Maxx, his makeup is at the Dollar General, his makeup is at Five Below, his makeup is at the Chinese buffet, I don't know, his makeup is garage sales probably across the country, Goodwill and everywhere else, all right? Who cares, okay? And so he puts out this TikTok, which I think is interesting. because Jeffree Star never really addressed this except to say, you know, like, oh, basically something about Morphe and all this kind of stuff, and that he didn't have anything to do with it. And I made those videos addressing it with Jeffree Star. So for all those that you are saying that I'm being biased, okay, I dealt with it with Jeffree Star, and now I'm dealing with it with James Charles. So fair is fair! Legend of Billie Jean. And if you don't know that movie, then you need to watch it, because there are some lessons to be learned in the Legend of Billie Jean, okay? So, anyway, fair is fair. So, first of all, let's just watch this TikTok that James Charles put out. Here you go.
I've been tagged in this video hundreds of times as if my palette being sold in TJ Maxx is supposed to be super embarrassing. Maybe I'm weird, but like, I don't see it that way. In fact, I honestly think it's like really cool, low-key. This palette is 4 years old. If you really think about it, most makeup products launch and are popular for like 4 minutes. So the fact that 4 years later people are still talking about this palette is a literal miracle. Like, millions of people have gotten their hands on this palette, which is the biggest blessing that I could ever ask for. Nothing can be popular forever, so of course, years later, it's going to be sold to stores like this because the brand's got to get rid of the stock. That's just how business works. Now, whether you love me or hate me, you can get a great formula for a super, super affordable price, so who cares? Like, I'm done. My contract is up. I bought my house with this palette. I bought my parents a house with this palette. My makeup line I've developed with the money that I made from this palette. I'm forever grateful for what this palette did, but I've moved on, and so should everybody else.
Okay, so that's what James had to say about it. Everybody should just move on from this. He has. He bought himself a house off of it. He bought his parents a house off of it, which is very nice, right? And he bought his new makeup line. He developed his new makeup line, which I think is interesting that he's talking about this makeup line because just about a month ago, he was asking people on Instagram to come up with a name for this brand that he's apparently already developed and is in production, but it has no name to it that he's trademarked or copywritten, okay? Girl, that is a lie straight from the pit of hell, okay? First of all, one of the first things that you would do in coming up with a brand is to trademark it, because there's a lot of legality that has to go up into developing a brand, okay, of any kind, whether it's makeup or not. So I don't even believe that we're anywhere close to this brand coming out, okay? Second of all, I just want to say something while we're on it for a second. You know, I did this video about James asking people on his Instagram story to help him come up with a name for this brand, okay? And he said in there that these were the terms he couldn't use. He couldn't use, okay? And it was like James Charles, beauty, makeup, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, right? And I said in the video that it was interesting because he must have had a contract with somebody that he couldn't use these terms, or somebody else has trademarked this or whatever, right? And there were so many people that must have missed that 30 seconds that I said that in the video, because I got a lot of comments and people were like, no, those are just... Why would James want to use those words? James just doesn't want to use those words. Why, if you were coming out with a makeup palette, would you not want makeup or beauty on your palette, number one? Oh, then they said, well, a lot of other people have used those names, okay? So call you know, I don't know what, call it a brick. Call it painting with bricks, I guess, okay? But nobody's going to know that James Charles is the person behind this. And if it doesn't have James Charles' name or face or something on it somewhere, isn't that his selling point as an influencer makeup brand? I'm baffled by this, that people want to come up with these excuses. So anyway, so James said in this thing, I didn't include the beginning part, which shows the TikTok, because it has music on it, but basically what it just shows is it's like 5 seconds of his palette being at, what do you call it, at Trader Joe's. I almost said it again. I want to go to Trader Joe's so bad. I love Trader Joe's. Being at the TJ Maxx. Okay, now I have done several videos in the past of James's palette being on sale on the clearance rack at Ulta Beauty, okay? Now, here's the one thing I'm very curious about. As somebody that has followed beauty influencer drama for almost 6 years at this point, I mean, I'm like a month shy of 6 years of doing a beauty influencer drama. What's the expiration date on those palettes? You know, he said on there that this palette has been out for 4 years. You know, he made millions of dollars off of it, and that he, you know, can now, like, hey, everybody can get it for an affordable price at TJ Maxx and all this kind of stuff. Okay, and it's a wonderful formula that you can get for an affordable price. what's the expiration date on this makeup? I mean, if any of those palettes have been out for 4 years, I would think that they had expired to some degree, right? I mean, it's not like you're buying brand new. It's not like Morphe is, you know, taking this stuff immediately from the distribution center and taking it to TJ Maxx. This is their leftover product. And he addresses that in there. He says, you know, they're supposed to do that in there. And I will say one thing. I did really appreciate the fact that he came out and just said, hey, listen, my contract's up with Morphe. I don't really care what they do with the product, basically, blah, 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 whatever. They have to get rid of their product. I understand that, okay? But if you're selling, Morphe is then selling it to TJ Maxx, who then TJ Maxx is selling it as clearance makeup, okay? So what is Morphe's responsibility for selling close to expired makeup? Like, I feel like that's a bad look. So really, that issue is not about James Charles, even though he says you're getting a great formula for a cheaper price, right? The real issue is the middleman between Morphe and TJ Maxx. I mean, I think anybody going into TJ Maxx probably knows that the makeup that you're getting is not brand new, right? Okay. But anyway, I just think it's interesting that Morphe does this. And now Morphe's done this to Jeffree Star. Now Morphe's done this to, what do you call it? To James Charles. I've also seen Jaclyn Hill's makeup in TJ Maxx and other, you know, outlet stores and things like that. So it's interesting to me that this is Morphe's way. Morphe does a collaboration with an influencer, and then you find the products later in the, you know, the outlet store and for a cheaper rate. So I guess that Morphe is now the, I don't know, the clearance brand of the beauty influencers, and it'll be interesting to see what happens down the road. Whenever I talk about Morphe, you know, in videos, people that are makeup lovers have always said that they're not big fans of Morphe products, that they feel like Morphe is kind of, I didn't say it, I'm just telling you what I've heard, is that they're kind of like a junkier brand. I don't know. So anyway, so that was the whole thing. Here's the thing. James, you know, he got called out on these TikToks that he did in this swimsuit and whatever, and then he clapped back kind of about that, which, hey, understandably, I get that, right? And then he clapped back the other day at this fan who said, you did something here, and he's like laying in bed. He's always laying in bed when he does these TikToks, right? And he's like, you know, like, oh, this guy said I really did something, blah, 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 and he claps back at this fan. And then he claps back now at people tagging him in this TikTok about his makeup being at TJ Maxx, and he's like, I don't care, okay? So basically what James Charles wants you to know right now is, A, he don't care, okay? Honey Badger don't care. B, what he wants you to know about things is, if you come for him in any way whatsoever, he's going to clap back at you, okay? C, what he wants you to know is he's coming out with a makeup brand. So the CEO of a makeup brand claps back at his audience and also don't care about nothing, okay? And he's, don't care about nothing, I'm showing myself. I mean, he really is showing his true colors all over the place. And I'm sitting here watching this. Like, you know, it's not like I wouldn't say huge issues of being problematic, but it's subtle. It's subtle. And I'm like, what is going on right now with James Charles? Like, there is something seriously going on with him that he is like, just like clapping back at everybody. And I mean, he is just like either just full of arrogance, like I can do no wrong or whatever, like which he always has been. You know, and it's interesting to me that 6 weeks ago, I watched a video back of mine the other day. I do say the word interesting about every 30 seconds. But anyway, it is interesting to me that being called out, okay, about all of these people that he contacted in his DMs that has been highly problematic for him through the years. Let's just be honest, okay? I mean, the accusations and allegations alone on that are very, very dark. And then he comes out in a video explaining it away and says the reason that I did it was that I was desperate and that I have learned that social media apps are not dating apps, okay? Then he comes out on Instagram a month ago, literally like a year and a half, 2 years after all of these lessons have been learned, okay, once he's taken the video down where he said he's desperate, he comes out and he says he's looking for his soulmate. Wouldn't it be funny if somebody contacted him in his DMs? And then talks about how all these people are reaching out to him in his DMs. No learning lesson has been learned there whatsoever. And I think people are tired of it. I think people are like, I'm real over James Charles. He doesn't learn anything. His content's not cute anymore. I really don't understand it. Okay, so that's the whole thing with all of that. Let me go in to talk about these comments that I received on my video the other day, okay? And I have to say I was kind of surprised because I really thought I would get mass amount of comments in favor of James Charles about this one issue. And the issue was that the video that he did with Amari Stewart and Mario Selzman, okay? And I went in and I looked at Amari's videos. I went in and I looked at Mario's videos afterwards, and they're very nice young men. You know, they're not very problematic, I don't think. I think it's interesting that they're doing videos with James Charles. I don't really know what that's about. I mean, I've seen Amari in TikToks and things with James, so he's friends with James. I know that. I've never seen Mario in anything connected with James Charles, so I didn't know who he was. I still don't really know who he is. I mean, he's a YouTuber that blew up a couple years ago and has, like, I think, like 1.5 million subscribers or something like that. But, you know, it's interesting to me that they do this video. So they do this video, which is them, you know, answering all these questions, these provocative questions, and then they take a shot after each one. Well, I addressed the fact that I felt like, for their audience, okay, and I even cited statistics that I had looked up online. You guys can look it up. About James Charles' audience, and his audience being 59% 18 to 24. Well, if you take the other 40% of that, 20 would be up and 20 would be down, which means, okay, that 80%, 60 plus 20 is 80. I ain't got my glasses on, they're right here, but I can still do math, okay? Today I can. But 80% of his audience is under the age of 24, which is the fastest growing group of binge drinkers who become alcoholics, okay? And the majority of those in there are female alcohol or female binge drinkers that are in college or high school, okay? I'm not stupid. And I said this in my video, and I got a few people that were like 16 that were like, this is what every 16-year-old did. I just talked about what I did in high school, okay? Y'all think I wasn't drinking and smoking the ganj and doing everything else? I was. I understand that, okay? I understand what it's like to be in high school today. I'm not stupid, okay? I get it. I know what people do. That doesn't mean that you have to have 3 people, okay, that are over the age of 21, that are 22 and 23, promoting binge drinking on their video, okay? And that is exactly what they do. Talking about how they finished a fifth. A fifth is the quantity that's in that bottle. Somebody asked me that from the UK. That they finished a fifth of Grey Goose vodka, okay, by doing shots and making these drinks. James is like this on the table at the end. He can't walk to the bathroom. He's so drunk. He's getting sick. He's crying at the end, talking about being lonely and alone and all this kind of stuff, okay? It's a sad video at the end. It really, really is, okay? So I got several comments. A lot of them were in support. People were like, Peter, thank you for speaking about this, because I do have kids that are in high school, and I do think that this is whatever. Because what I said was that if I had a child that was 15 or 16 years old, that was lonely and didn't have friends or whatever, even if they did, that was watching this, okay, that was wanting to emulate this behavior, that it could be very, very dangerous for that age group. How do y'all think, and this is my question when people want to defend this, how do y'all think that Tana Mojo grew her career on YouTube? Okay, I'll wait a second. When she's smoking, you know, weed and partying and drinking and doing all this kind of stuff with her friends and flipping off to the camera and I don't give an F and all this kind of stuff attitude. And what you would see flooded in the comment sections of Tana's videos was, I'm just like Tana. Tana's just me and my friends. I wish I was like Tana. I wish I had Tana's friend group. And the average age was 12 to 18, okay? That's how Tana grew her fandom on YouTube, all right, was by all of that. So I do have an issue with James Charles and his friends doing this and being of influence to a younger generation. Now, when people ask me, you know, why do you think it's their responsibility? First of all, I don't really ever think it's anybody's responsibility. I don't, okay? Like, they can be as bad ASS as they want to, and they can show their true colors all over the place and whatever. What I don't understand is why you wouldn't want to. You know, James gets in this video and says, I'm very thankful for the palette that afforded me to buy a house and afforded me to buy my parents' house and to come up with my makeup line. Who do you think was buying your makeup palette, James? Okay? I saw dads buying that palette for their teenage sons and daughters. I saw kids wanting that for Christmas, like nonstop. Your audience that bought that palette was mostly teenagers and young people. Okay? Those are those people that you don't feel any obligation to show maybe some responsible behavior in a video. Those are the people that bought your house for you. Okay? So let's just call it for what it is. There is a moment in the video where they are talking about the biggest they were offered on a sponsorship, okay? It's a very telling moment, and it's really that short, okay? Now, Mario doesn't really say a whole lot about it. Mario says that he was offered $300,000, okay? James Charles says that he was offered $1 million, but he turned it down because it wasn't the right fit. And he laughs and says, in retrospect, I probably should have done it, okay? Now, Mario is 22 years old. James Charles is 23 years old. If you're out there and you're my age, or let's say 40 or 30 or 22 even, can you even imagine for 60 to 90 seconds in a video making $300,000 or $1 million? Okay, even if it was, like a detailed video that was just about that product. Can you imagine posting a 20-minute video and making $1 million? $1 million, okay? 300,000, I mean, this is life-changing money for these, kids, let alone for anybody out there, okay? I would venture to guess that the majority of the people that watch YouTube videos do not make $300,000 a year. $300,000 a year off of one sponsorship at 22 or less, okay? And they don't feel like they have any responsibility. Well, your influence has allowed you to make $300,000 to $1 million for one setting. Your influence that you have over all of these people, okay? Your numbers that you have, the age groups, because listen, sponsors ask for age groups. They ask for where your people live. Anybody that reaches out to me for a sponsorship, these are the things they want to know. What is your breakdown male to female? What's the age group? And what is the, what do you call it? They ask for all of that. I can't think of the word. The analytics of where the people live, like what countries and things like that, right? So anybody that would sponsor James Charles for $1 million, or anybody that would sponsor Mario, okay, for $300,000, what they are saying is, we feel that your audience age group is good for what we are trying to sell to them, right? So you are okay with that pinpointed audience being used when it affords you $300,000 to $1 million. But you don't feel any responsibility when it comes to you sitting down on video. And this goes for anybody, because I got a lot of comments that were like, there are so many YouTubers that do these videos of taking a shot with truth or dare, blah, 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 whatever. This goes for any YouTuber out there, okay, that does those kind of videos, that has a younger audience, or just isn't educated at all, because I don't feel like that's educated in a video, okay? To come out, and this is not about, I got a couple of responses. People are like, this is about you being in recovery and you're so biased and blah, 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 whatever. No, this is me sitting back and reading the room, okay? This is about me sitting back and watching these entitled, arrogant, egotistic YouTubers, all right? Who are willing to take all the money in the world and then saying, but I don't have any responsibility for how I made that money. Who the hell do you think got you that $300,000 to $1 million? Who the hell do you think bought you your house and your Teslas? You know? It wasn't your mommy and daddy. That's for damn sure, okay? It was all of the 18-year and unders that are watching your videos that are thinking that it's fun, and so then they're trying that in their own bedrooms, right? Like, this is some scary stuff, and I don't understand why people don't have a bigger issue with it. You have no issue making this kind of money based on the audience that you have. And I'm not stupid, and neither is any other YouTuber out there that's ever done a sponsorship. They want to know your analytics. They want to know the age of your audience. So if they approved a sponsorship for anywhere between whatever amount of money, okay, what they're saying is, you're a good fit. And the fact that 80% of your audience is under the age of 24 and you're getting offered $1 million, that's very telling to me. And that is also the #1 age of binge drinking in the United States, okay? That is leading to problematic behavior. That's very, very dangerous that you think that that's okay and that that's funny to get in a video. You know, do your TikTok challenges, throw the Dolan twins, you know, into a video and use them again for the 19th time in your thumbnail. You know, talk about Jeffree Star. Who cares, okay? But like, this is problematic. Like, this is, to me, the fact that I don't care. I'm going to continue to do what I want. I haven't changed at all, and all of my friends 100% back me. This is really problematic, you guys. Like, this goes deeper to me than James Charles. This goes to really to lean towards not just the beauty influencer community, but young Hollywood in general, you know? It's very, very problematic, and it always has been, you know? I mean, I think, like, if you're from my generation, you know that there were, like, cast members from like different strokes that had major drug and alcohol problems. I talked about Tawny Katane the other day. I mean, this is not a new thing, okay? That there are a lot of young celebrities that have like all of these problems. But why do you promote it in what you're doing? That's kind of a new thing that we really haven't seen before. I mean, we really haven't, you know? So I don't understand. I don't get it, and I don't know. It just kind of makes me sad. Am I going to sit here and get on my bandwagon and continue to, you know, address it in every video? No. But I do think it's important that I address it because I think that it's important that people remember. Don't forget, okay, the way that these people are paying these bills are off of your backs and off of your kids' backs. And the ability to pay for their houses, their Teslas, their trips, their parents' houses, to afford them to go to Catch LA every single night and eat $500 dinners and all of this and buy all of this unbelievable clothes and bags. That's all over the fact, okay, that they have a very young audience out there that is eating up anything that they put out there. So why would you not? So this is my one question to any of them. Why would you not want to be a young role model to these people? I watched a video that this Mario put out, right? Because I watched a couple of his videos because I wanted to see who he was. And he started on Musical.ly and some other stuff because he kind of explained it in a video. He did this very sweet coming out video that I have to say I feel is very genuine and authentic and would be really, really, I think, what's the word I'm looking for? I think it would be really encouraging to any teenager struggling, you know, with sexual orientation and coming out. And he even says in the video, you know, like, come out at your own rate. Like, don't, like, push yourself. Do it when you're ready and all this kind of stuff. It's a very thought out video. It's a video that I think that, like, his age group doing it does show that he's a good role model for these people. But then you get in a video and you're throwing shots down and you're laughing about how, you know, sick and sad James is at the end, and it's not funny. I don't get it. You know, I mean, it's just, and it's not just these three. It's a lot of people on YouTube. And I think it's problematic. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.